The internet in those days was still largely nerdy, but was starting to grow. And I don't think they'd factored in the fact that I could contact journalists using email. I could put up a website or whatever. They hadn't factored that in because these people say the New World Order is not intelligent. It's just utterly ruthless. And there's a difference. There really is. People think, oh, they've got this intelligent understanding of human nature. No, they don't. They just kill people who disagree with them, you know. It's that basic. So anyway, what happened was I then went to put a website up, and I managed to get the Sunday Times, who I'd worked for in the past, and journalists I knew interested in the story. I then arranged to meet them in Paris, and at the same time, some of them phoned me up and suddenly got interested as well, so I thought I'll try and play one against the other and make sure the story comes out. And to give you an idea how crazy it was that day, Richard Tomlinson, I don't know if you heard of him, he was a renegade MI6 officer, got in touch and said, look, and I thought, well, us two photographed together, this is going to go around the world, basically. So Annie had phoned him, made contact, we were going to talk with him, and then he disappeared. Even the hotel where she contacted him were denying knowledge of him, basically, and it turned out he'd been arrested by the French.
Right.
But again, with Tomlinson, I don't believe he was a real whistleblower or renegade. I think he was sent out by MI6 to do the job. When he wanted to come back to this country, he was allowed back in, which, look, compared to the way I was treated, that would be evidence to me that he was still working for them. So what happened was, in Paris that day, I'd given the story to both the Mail on Sunday and the Sunday Times, yeah? So I thought it's coming out. In fact, I even bumped into that night a journalist from the International Herald Tribune who I briefed on the story. He said, look, if it doesn't come out in Britain, please put the story out in America.
Yeah.
And then that night, coming back from watching some football on the telly, a pre-season friendly from Middlesbrough, I was arrested when I came into the hotel lobby.
In Paris?
In Paris, yeah. By the French secret police. They took me to the Ministry of the Interior. The reason I know that is I'd been there before on my travels in MI5. So when we first got there, I said, I've been here before. And they were saying, well, really? I said, yeah, you'd have to mention me to your colleagues in the Libyan section. We shared assessments. At that point, it all changed. It was all Coca-Cola, cigarettes and coffee, you know.
Right.
But what happened is, in fact, the Brits had told the French that I was some kind of super spy. So I was held without access to a lawyer, and held without access to visitors as well. I mean, they really did try and break me, they really did. Eventually I saw a lawyer after about 48 hours, I was already in prison. And I didn't see a visitor for 2 months. And again, that's obviously a way of trying to break somebody. Obviously an extradition as well as a way of breaking somebody, because it's not like a normal prison sentence. You don't tick off a day towards your release. Every day, another day, another day, another day, no end in sight. Fortunately, what happened was once the French got hold of the British case, there was almost indecent haste to get me out. So they realised that actually what I'd done was right. And I mean, the thing was, obviously I'd been arrested, and just to make the story absolutely watertight, I'd sent a summary to Tony Blair of the Gaddafi plot, saying how MI6 had funded Al-Qaeda without government permission. And that was the day they put out an urgent extradition request. So they had 10 months to do this. And suddenly that day, when I'm saying, look, will you please do something about this? And I wasn't even talking about disclosing it. I was just saying, look, if you do something about it, I won't disclose it. You know, it's simple as that. And yet they had me arrested to keep me in prison and shut up, basically.